Good evening and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me Guy show. I'm your host, Melvin Lars, and today you're in for a treat. We have the one and only Mr. Donnie Little. Now, Donnie hails from Texas, a town called Dickinson, Texas, which is a bedroom community. I may even go so far as to identify it as being a village. And Donnie came through at a time when you had, and most of you have heard of Eric Dickerson and Craig James and the Pony Express and all these other guys coming out of colleges and that kind of thing, going to the NFL. Dunny played at Dickinson High School. He was a three-sport athlete, and he'll correct me if I get any one of them wrong, but I believe he was a baseball pitcher, if I remember correctly, Dunny. I know he played basketball, and he was certainly our star quarterback. And guys, give me a few minutes because I have to introduce this guy. He's a phenomenal young brother. And I was telling Dunny just recently, here I am coming out of college and thinking I'm God's gift to athletics. I just been cut from Houston Oilers, and I was coming to work in Dunny's hometown. And as I'm driving into town, on the water tower had home of the Fighting Gators. Now, I had already been warned that they hadn't won ball games in many, many, many years. And I told Dunny last night, I said, man, I have to be honest with you. When I'm coming in town, I'm going, hell, they ain't been fighting too many people, but see, I didn't know that I was going to meet Donnie Little. You understand what I'm saying? I came into this town as a rookie coach. I was not the head coach. I was an assistant coach. I was assisting with the freshman team as well. And I didn't do a whole lot of work. Coming in as a rookie, everyone wants you to pay your dues. So, but I got to know Donnie. I got to know his family really well. Donnie's baby brother, Lanny, was one of my mainstays. But the story on Donnie is simply this. This young man is a phenomenal athlete. And as I tell this young man all the time, there's only one first. Anybody can say, I came behind this person or my record was better than that person. And like I told him last night, there's no knock on VY. I think VY was an excellent quarterback. I know they love Brother Applewhite, all these guys, but I have not observed a better quarterback that's ever played at the University of Texas. And I've been watching the University of Texas play football as early as, I'm going to date myself here, guys, as early as 1964. I was 11 years old and I was watching the University of Texas. I haven't seen a quarterback yet that played as well as Dunny. So I just wanted to give you guys an intro so that you can understand the kind of things that we'll be sharing and talking with Dunny about. And so we want to introduce you at this time on the Nobody Asked Me Guy show, Mr. Donnie Little. Donnie, thank you for joining us, sir.
Oh, proud to be here, buddy. But you're a little biased now. Come on. You're putting me in tough territory with BY.
Well, hey, man, listen. There's no shame in my game. I may admit, and I will admit, that I am biased, but I'm honestly biased because I've watched these guys and I watched you through high school. I watched you through college. I watched you even when you played wide receiver in the Canadian League. And I am telling Donnie, as a man that, and I'm telling our audience as well, as a man that was in and out of professional camps myself, as a man that have scouted for several colleges and universities, I've not seen a better quarterback than Donnie Little. So I can appreciate your humility, brother Donnie, but I just have to let the audience know who they're talking about. Now, Donnie, if we can hop right into this, man, if you can tell us a little bit, about your first desires to play football, and was it at quarterback?
Correct. I didn't play high school football till my junior year in high school. And we had a coaching change and a new coach came in, Teddy Gray, and he got all of us out of basketball class. And I was a baseball and basketball player. And the school morale was down. We just didn't have a lot of our athletes that went out and played football because they hadn't been winning in football. And then when they went out, if they went out and they wanted to play one position, they was put at another position. So it just kind of discouraged us of wanting to play until the new coach came. And when the new coach came, he said he's going to put his best athletes on the field. So if that meant one was at quarterback, that meant one was at quarterback. So that's kind of how I got introduced to high school football.
And wow, Donnie, That's what our audience need to know. See, that's what's so phenomenal about your story is you weren't even playing football, and the very first year there, tell them what your record was your first year playing quarterback at a high school that hadn't won a ball game in the previous 8 or 9 years.
We went 10-1 my first year, and we lost that in our second round or first round playoffs. And then obviously the next year we didn't like that taste. So the next year we came back and we lost the first game of the season, but then ran the table and won the state champion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Now, done it again. Done it said I was biased, but I want you guys to tell me, uh, is that a coach being biased? You have a young man that never played football competitively, comes out first season, goes undefeated, comes out next season, leads his team to a state championship. Now, see, that's a Hollywood script right there, Donnie. That's a Hollywood script. How many people do you know ever know that happening to? Not very, very many. And Don was saying that's a pretty great record, and I agree with him. And then, guys, to add excitement, not only was this man heavily recruited, people coming to see him, Fred Akers, I mean, the major college coaches. And then you had the legendary Eddie Robinson, who was foaming at the mouth. And I can tell this story. I don't want to get his coaches in trouble. So, Donnie, I'm not going to call their names.
Don't do
it. There were two coaches from Grambling that were supposed to come and see this young man and to convince him to come to. He always come to Grambling, and I don't know why they didn't get there, Donnie. So I won't malign them, but the rest is history. So as we move on, Donnie, I'd like just to dive right into this. As a high school quarterback, did you ever think that you would become a trailblazer and set a precedent by being the first African American quarterback to lead the Texas Longhorns?
Honestly, I did not. I really didn't. When you're 17, 16, 17 years old, and what really got me more excited about coming to the University of Texas is when I visited other schools, they downplayed and told me 100 times that if I went to the University of Texas, they would not play me at quarterback, and that they were just using that as a torch to kind of get me there. They're going to move me to receiver or running back. And that had a negative thought on the school I was visiting, because I wanted them to tell me about their school and not downgrade the University of Texas. And I had a pretty good relationship with Coach Dabbs, who was recruiting me, and Charlie Lee and those guys, and Fred Akers. He told my parents in the living room that if I came there, I will play quarterback. And so that was a top issue or topic during the recruiting period. And so really some of the other schools made me consider UT even more so because of that negative vibration they were giving me about UT. And then after I came on my visit to UT, we had, I think, and there still may not be a record today, but we had the largest number of African American players that came to Texas in 1978. And when I say largest number in one class, being like, if they signed 20, we had 17 or 18 of us. So when we all came on our visit, we said, hey, this is where I'm coming. And then they were putting pressure on me. They're like, come on, you can come here. Come on, Donnie. And if you come, I'll come. And, so those things happen when you're with some of the top rated players in the state or in the world, and they come down and you're only there for 2 days to see them. But if you hit it off, you feel that vibe and you're like, okay, I do like the campus. I do like what they showed me. I do like the education part. I do like the pretty girls walking around. So yeah, let's go. Let's think about it. So we did. And now, having said that, I had no clue what I signed up for. I really did. I thought I'd just come in to, get a scholarship and be a student athlete and go play something that I have fun at. But
Mm-hmm.
when there was, as you alluded earlier, when it's a first and when there's a change, some people like change, some people don't. And so I had to mature a lot faster, probably than I wanted to. I couldn't be judgmental to black people, white people, or Hispanic people because when that's changed, not everybody's going to gravitate to change. Some
Mm-hmm.
people want things to remain the same. You got to understand the history of the University of Texas. It's a very rich school, rich in tradition, rich in money, rich in a whole lot of things. And so I was telling my buddy that I kind of equate the two when I watched the movie Salmon, and
Mm-hmm.
they're walking across a bridge for human
The
rights,
Pettis,
civil
yeah,
rights,
yes.
and when you trying to do something different, it opened up some doors for the James Browns and the Vince Young.
Wow. Wow, man. See, Don, again, I know the people that's listening will have to agree with me. Because what you did was phenomenal. I mean, and your story that you're telling needs to be told and shared with the world. And it actually it segues us into my next question here. When you decided to sign with Texas, were you aware of Texas's long-standing separatist issues with athletes of color? When you initially decided to sign, were you aware of that of the fact that they usually didn't sign athletes of color, and especially at quarterback?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't aware. Again, when you, when you're raised during a time where black and white wasn't as exposed as it was in earlier years or separate as it was in earlier years. And so when I came to school, I just thought, hey, I'm coming to a big university. I need to take advantage of getting this degree here. I need to take advantage of the exposure it's going to give me from an athlete's point of view. Um, I had no idea because of the color of my skin that this would set off a true bomb as far as some people loving it and some people disliking it, and but it all again, I would not trade the experience for anything in the world. It was it makes you mature. Is I rather in that old saying, people used to come up to me, oh, you're the black quarterback in Texas, and I'll just go, no, I'm just Donnie. I, you know,
Right.
I don't have to be black, white, blue, or green. I'm just Donnie. But it was an acceptance thing, and probably more than anything, the lesson that you have to grow up, mature, understand the perspective of it. You're just not there to play football, but you're there to open doors. You're there to, win people over, and some you will, some you won't.
Hmm. Wow, man, that's powerful. I mean, it leads me right into the next question. Now, I bring this up because you stepped into shark-infested waters, and you were talking to us about that now. Not only did you step into shark-infested waters, you became the starter, and at one point had the number one ranking in the country. I mean, I don't know how many athletes could have done that, but with the grace and style that you did it. So, regardless of race, creed, or color, share with us a little bit about that experience. And you already doing that. You're already doing that now. And I just wonder, when you were going through that, Donnie, did it have any adverse effect on you as far as choosing Texas? Did you ever have any maybe second thoughts about it?
Well, yes, I did, but my dad told me once I start something, I got to finish it.
Okay.
And he said, are they throwing stones at you? Are they shooting guns at you? I said, no.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, words, we can defend those words. When you go out and do something good, throw a touchdown, same person that booed is going to be the same person to jump up and scream for you. So it
Mm-hmm.
was, again, part of being adjusted and then thrown a curveball that, okay, this is no longer high school where you're gonna screw up, you're gonna do something good, and nobody really cares. Well, now
Yeah.
bigger field, bigger stadium, bigger picture. Everybody holds, especially, and I learned real quick, the quarterback and the coach are the two heroes when you win, and we're the two goats when you lose. And so, what kept me going though was my teammates, and I think the ultimate compliment was some of my teammates on the team felt, whether it come from black or white guys, they said if there was ever a person to be chosen to be the first, they liked the way I handled the situation. They liked the matureness of it. They like that it didn't change me because I just felt like only on Saturdays that these people act like this. But I had no idea that this big money making school, again, some people love change, some people don't. Then
Mm-hmm.
I think the ultimate compliment came from a guy named Gail Sayers and Earl Campbell. I
Okay.
got to do a function with those two guys, and for Gail Sayers to bring to my attention, and here I am sitting with him and going, man, I have to admit, Mr. Sayers, when I watched the Brian Piccolo song, when I watched that movie, I've never seen a black man cry over a white man until my mom cried over JF Kennedy, right? When he
Okay.
got killed. And so I'm sitting in the house as this big, tough athlete and thinking that I don't supposed to be crying, can't let nobody see me cry. And all my older brothers was crying because it was that kind of movie.
Yeah.
And so for
Yeah.
Mr. Sales, when Gail Sales said to me, I've been following your career and you're a pioneer, young man, and I really like the way that you handling the situation. Nobody else could tell me nothing else. Gail Sales and told
Okay.
me what I needed to hear. And that was pretty powerful for him to be in Chicago or wherever he was living at the time and to tell me that he's followed that. And so it's pretty amazing that when I was coming up and I turn on the TV and I see OU playing Texas, well, because I'm looking for somebody that looked like me. And
Yeah.
OU had the black quarterbacks. And I was like, wow, I guess I should pull for that team. How
Okay.
ironic it is that when you grow up, now you want to be opposite. I want to be on that other team, that Texas team, because now they got Roosevelt Leaks, now they got Earl Campbell, and they got all these guys that look like me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, now Texas is in the fold where it used to be U of H, OU, some of the schools that you could relate to that had someone that looked like you. And
Yeah.
um, and then my parents, when Fred Akers came, he did a great job of selling the university. He was very honest. He said, "I'm not black. I don't know what trials and tribulations you may go through, but we'll go through them together. I can never be your dad. You got a dad, but I can be a dad away from home." So,
Mm-hmm.
and my heart goes out to Coach Akers because he stood true to all of that, and the whole time I was there.
Wow. Man, that is powerful. And Donald is saying that was a tearjerker. That's powerful. And then
Now,
allow me a half a second just to say to our audience is I want them to feel free to ask any questions of you that they may have. We have a camera that's still open. We're holding one open for Dr. Vibe, but we do have one camera available. If someone like to come on and talk with us, please feel free to do so. But Don, I mean, hey man, you wow, this is powerful. I'm telling you, this is Hollywood stuff. This is Hollywood kind of stuff here, and you've already gone through number 5. So let's just move on. Now, unfortunately, you sustained an injury that most of us felt cost you as the starter at the University of Texas. Now, how did this injury affect you? How did it affect you, the person?
well, I never had an injury before, and to have one
Okay.
it sidelines you for a significant period of time. It don't take very long to get out of shape for football if you're not on the practice field and working to perfect your trade. And once
Mm-hmm.
that injury came, it was a falling arch, and it's something that just takes time. You can't come back too soon, and if you can't run, you can't play. And so
Right.
it was one of those weird injuries where I didn't have to have surgery or anything like that, but the arch had fallen and it just had to heal on its own time, and it just set me back for so long.
Yeah, man. I can only imagine. Brother James E. King has joined us. Brother King, if you have any questions for Brother Little, please feel free to ask the question, sir.
Yes, sir. How you doing today, Mr. Little?
I'm fine, Brother King. How are you?
I'm fine. I have a podcast, and one of my members is actually an alumni from the University of Texas. And I'm kind of wondering, what was your reception from the alumni and from the boosters when you got to the University of Texas?
Who would be the person that I would be with?
No,
probably?
no. What was their reaction to you?
Honestly, they kind of kept me shielded from a lot of that, but they were very receptive. Anyone that had any ties with the university, whether employee or associated in any way, I honestly looked for someone that looked like me, and I never really saw that. And so I leaned more. I just, kept my eyes open, mouth shut, and just tried to see who was legit and who wasn't, and who's in your corner or who's not in your corner. And, you just have that vibe that you raise with to know when you meet somebody that's got a good vibration or bad vibration. And but having said that, my teammates, man, that's what really brought me through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Wow.
I have a definite understanding of that. What about when you went to some of the other schools, like the University of Alabama, or as you spoke of, even the Oklahoma University, and some of those schools?
Well, they've had black quarterbacks before. And honestly, not just because the quarterback was black that you make your decision on, it's also how many years they got left. Did they have a good year? Were they a freshman and they're going to be a starter the next year coming in? That doesn't play much of a role nowadays. But even though you see kids that come in that want to transfer because the guy in front of them was playing really well and they want to play. But it really took a lot from U of H to UCLA to USC to see how many years of eligibility the starter has left, which would tell me if that's where I wanted to go there. I want to sit a year or two. I really didn't want to. I want to go in and play. But there's a lot of kids like me. We ain't ready, but that's what we want to do. So it's a whole lot of things that come into that decision making.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Feel free to put them in the chat box over to the left, and I'll be sure to ask Brother Dunny those questions you might have done. Now, you ultimately switched to wide receiver after that injury. It wasn't long before that. And was this a difficult decision to make as far as switching to wide receiver, having one to participate as a quarterback for the University of Texas, having had led the team to the #1 ranking at one time at the University of Texas, being undefeated the whole nine. As you know, as one of the old coaches that was coaching on your high school staff, and we followed you religiously. And I'd like you to express, if you feel comfortable, did this happen? And was it difficult to make that decision to change to wide receiver?
It was very difficult. The team was torn in half, and the only reason why we experimented with it, because in the spring ball we were going to more of a throwing offense, and at the time there was not very many African American quarterbacks in the NFL, and if I was to go there, I would go as a receiver. So that having that 1 year of experience to go into the NFL would be better than having no year's experience. So now from the team perspective, since we wound up keeping pretty much the same offense, they felt that we would have probably won the national championship, and we'd have done a lot better if I'd have stayed put where I was. But
we felt the same way, but go ahead.
But I had no way of knowing that. We went into the season thinking we were going to throw the ball more, and when And in reality, we did not. So, you know, if hindsight would be different, I'll do things different. But at the time, I guess I was thinking of being a little bit more selfish for myself, that if I needed this experience at the wide out before I can enhance my chances of being drafted.
Okay. Excellent answer. Now, listen, Don wants to know if you had a chance to write a book about your experiences.
No, sir, I have not.
Okay, and I'm gonna follow up for Don because I'm thinking that he'll probably ask you, have you ever thought about it?
I've been asked before, but I just really, yes, I've thought about it, but I haven't, never got to that point.
Okay, okay, okay. Listen, now, do you feel that your teammates, and actually you've answered that question. I wanted to ask you about your teammates and were they supportive and that kind of thing with you having been their leader and leading them forward. So you've shared with us already the team really became kind of splintered, and that is to be expected. Now, also as I'm saying that, Donald is in agreement with me. He's saying I would like to see this story on the big screen. And please allow me to say, even though I'm the host of this show, Dunny, and usually, we always allow, because that's what should happen, is the guest to do all of the talking. I just want to share with you is that I agree with the questions that are being asked, and this is a phenomenal story, and it's just something that does need to be on the big screen. It does, and people need to know, because trailblazers are special. I don't care what people say. Trailblazers are special. Being the first is always special, and all the things that go along behind the scene. And you said something when Brother King asked you about people waiting to greet you, and you said, "Well, I was looking for someone that looked like me, and they kind of kept me protected from a lot of others, a lot of the things." And that's what a lot of people don't understand and don't receive, is that is much more than getting on that football field. It's the life on campus, etc. So, hey, man, this is phenomenal. Anyone have any other questions? I'm going to move on with the questions that we have. But if you have questions, please feel free to add. Brother King, if you have other questions, please feel free to ask. We have many other people that are on here with us, by the way, Donnie. They're just watching. They're not asking questions. But if anyone have any questions, feel free.
Donnie, I'd like to ask you, you mentioned how you had to switch over to wide receiver because of your injury. But we do see a lot of quarterbacks that are coming out of major colleges. Before the NFL decides to put them on the team, they kind of give them this speech about, maybe they have to change positions and whatnot. You seem to have went through that many, many years before. So do you see any change in the NFL really regarding a black man as a viable quarterback, unless he is really, really exceptional? And I point to the Colin Kaepernick situation as an example.
That's a good point. Yes, I have seen change. Now keep in mind, when I came through, there was Doug Williams, James Harris, Joe Gilliam. That was pretty much it. Now you need two hands to start counting how many brothers in the NFL. It's the opportunity. I really thought last year when Baltimore took the kid Jackson that they would put him on the field, but put him on the field kind of like Pittsburgh did when they got the kid from Colorado, make him a quarterback and a receiver. And but Jackson, God, he took that team to another level, and he's just going to get better. So opportunities are a lot more for people, African Americans at quarterback. And hats off to Colin Kaepernick for doing what he's doing. I totally believe in what his stance is about. It's not about kneeling for the national anthem. It's more about he's giving his respect to that Black Lives Matter. and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And it's a great time for young African American players to play quarterback because of the success of guys that are playing now. And you know, there's a stereotype. Can you read defenses? Can you throw the ball? As much success as Cam Newton has had, he still get a lot of criticism because he's not as consistent as an Aaron Rodgers is, you know. But the guy can throw the ball. He's a one heck of a type of a guy as far as how big he is, you know. And but he's been to the Super Bowl and he probably will get back there before his career is over. So the opportunity is definitely there. It's just once they get in that seat, it's not always all about how well you're performing on the field. You got to take care of your stuff outside the field. You got to make sure that you're living a martyr's good life because you're more than just a role model now. You know, they put you on this premium and on this spectacle that you got to perform. Not when you're just playing football. You got to carry yourself pretty close to. Nobody's perfect, but decent off the field. That plays a bigger part than being how much talent you got.
How do you think you would have survived under the current social media environment?
It'd have been different. You know, cell phones wasn't even out when I played. They might have had a pager. It'd have been totally different, Brother King. It's just the social media is what it is now. You know, it could be helpful, but it could be dangerous at the same time if you don't use it the right way.
You know what? So speaking of social media, and brother King, thank you for those questions, man. And feel free, you can always ask more. But I just want to get Don was wondering, Donnie, he was wanting to know, did you meet many friends, regardless of color, when you were at the University of Houston? And I'll elaborate a little bit further. We know friend can be relative, but as far as acquaintances and people that you got to know when you were at the University of Texas?
When you come as a student athlete, you already kind of in a fraternity. And so, you know, you dressed in, we had over 70, 80 players. And I really think after 20, 30 plus years later, I was telling my buddy, my new friend, by the way, you know, I'm at the Independent School District Athletics Department, and a good friend of mine, Greg Priest, is our athletic director, and he's doing great things.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too.
We'll get back to
we're gonna talk about your new position. But please continue.
But when you're in a football program, everything is pretty much scrutinized down to your classes. Your day is made up to when you have meetings, when you eat lunch. You're in a football locker room with 80 different thumbprints. And I think the ultimate compliment is that when you treat the top guy on the team, whether it be Johnny Lamb Jones or Earl Campbell, and you treat the walk-on the same way you treat the top guy, that's the ultimate respect that you can get, because you don't put yourself above people. You put yourself on the same level with people, and they respect you and they'll do anything for you. So relationships there that's the beautiful thing of being in sports. You don't judge people. J.C. Watson always said, man, when we get in the huddle, I'm not asking the white guy or the black guy, are you Jewish? Are you Catholic? What are you? We trying to execute a play, and everybody got to be on the same fold. And these guys, that's what sports does. Brings relationships that you carry on for the rest of your life.
Excellent. Listen, I know our listeners want to know, what were your academic pursuits at the university? Was it history, math? I don't know. Can you share with us a little bit, please? Because I'm going to let the cat out the bag for our audience, Donnie. Donnie, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is an excellent singer. Now, I don't know if he still sings, but I know, man, he used to he had some really good pipes at one time. And I know a lot of times when we all get older, sometimes we don't have those same pipes. So, Donnie, can you kind of share with us what your academic pursuits were when you were attending the University of Texas?
Again, we were pretty footloose, and you had to be a young person that was already molded and grounded by your family before you come to college. It's totally different now. But back then, you had to do that, or you're going to put your scholarship in jeopardy if you didn't go to class. And it's one thing of
Mhm.
going to class. There's another thing while you're in class, you got to learn something, take some notes, and you still got to take the test. So it was a whole lot different back then than it is now. To me, it's harder because you didn't have the resources that you have now with the tutors, with everybody that build all kind of sophisticated training deals that you. There's no reason for a person to flunk now unless he just totally give up on school and don't try to get help. But coming out of the family I came out of, you couldn't leave home without being told this ain't gonna last forever. And don't be a stereotype. Don't go and say all you want to do is play professional sports or football, basketball, baseball. You better have something to fall back on. And so while you're there, you better start working on that education. So that again, that's instilled in you at an early age. And you hear a lot of
Mhm.
athletes say that, but one of my favorites is probably the guy at the St. Louis, the Arizona Cardinals, when the receiver that's about to retire. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah. Oh man.
Larry
Yeah,
Number 11.
Fitzgerald.
I know you're talking
yeah,
about.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Fitzgerald. You're right, brother
yeah,
King.
and
You're right, brother King. Fitzgerald.
he's after all these years, he played in NFL and he called his mom and said, "Mom, I'm good on that promise I did about 15 years ago." And he finally got that degree. And
Yeah.
that means a lot. And I tell young people when I talk to them today, if you look like me, don't be stereotyped. Don't
Hmm.
don't let them think that they're right when it comes to all you want to do is play sports and not get an education while you're doing it. And unfortunately, we still have some that fall in the cracks, but the majority
Yeah.
now comes from educated families and they understand the importance of it.
Wow. Listen, Don is asking, what was your most memorable game and why during your tenure at the university? Well, he didn't say a high school or college, but I'm assuming that he's talking about the University of Texas.
College.
But okay, yeah,
um, yeah, if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Texas OU game because
okay,
normally, Don, we go in with, a set of plays that we think will work against their defense. And you have to know how the makeup of the stadium is. From 150 round to the other 50 is OU, then the 150 the other way is all Texas. So we went in with the game plan of depending on what the defense gives us, I would call two plays in the huddle. And when I went up to the line, however they was set up, I would call that play. Well, we were deep in OU territory, so none of my players could hear me. So OU just scored, and they were getting momentum, and I would call this play, and they'll run a different play, and we got no negative yardage. So right before halftime, and I went over to Coach Eggers and said, "Coach, I just got to call a play in the huddle, and we just got to go with it because they can't hear me." And he said, we're defeating ourselves. It's not what we practiced all week. We got to stay to our game plan. And so in the huddle, this was nowhere in the scrapbook. In the huddle, OU runs a 5-2 defense. They had two linebackers. We had two running backs. I'll split the running backs out. They would flare out. I'll take 3 steps back like I'm going to throw the ball. And 13 carries and 121 yards later, we made up that play in the game. That was probably my favorite game. We made it.
That's cool, man. Hey, I remember that play. Wow. See, that's why I'm trying to contain myself because see, I followed your career all your life, and I remember that play, and so I don't want to be again, the host that's enjoying the conversation because you have a lot of viewers here. But listen, brother King, or if anyone rest of you, as we get ready to wind this thing down, if you have any other questions, please feel free. Because we will talk. Dunny has a new position now, and he's now working with young men in high school over in Tyler, Texas, which is the home of the Tyler Rose. And Dunny, this is a story that I have to laugh about all the time. My cousin Earl Campbell, whom I can't seem to make contact with, was an icon at that school as well. But as we get ready to wind this thing down, we're gonna ask Dunny to talk to us a little bit about his new position at John Tyler. But before I do that, Dunny, Rich Roberts is saying, what are your thoughts on the new AAF and opportunity it may present? There's a new football league now called AAF, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity yet to check that out, but he's asking about your opinion and what do you think about it? Are the opportunities that may come from that new league?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. And that's the sad story about so many kids are hoping to make it in the NFL, and only 45 to 50 is going to be on a team, but you got at least 45,000 that's trying out that wants to play. So this will establish an opportunity for guys who may have been the last cut or right in that last 45 to 50 range, and it's sponsored by the NFL. So they do well there. They be on somebody's roster. I think it's awesome. It's a great opportunity.
Great, great. Brother King, before we talk about John Tyler, any last question, brother?
Uh, First of all, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
Sir, do you find that today's youth have the same determination to succeed as past generations, such as yours and mine?
That's a great question, Don, but some are and some are not. And because they have too many options, some I can look no further than my own. I just like to, I didn't have Nintendo and all the PlayStations. If you were gonna be an athlete, it was something we worked at every day, whether it was football season, then you went to basketball, then you went to baseball, then track. And now the two sports I never played are the two sports I love, which is tennis and golf. So the opportunities is too many options for young people. Me and my boss and good friend, we're constantly talking about how we gotta start these kids off in the middle schools. We got to start putting a ball and glove in their hand, or put a basketball or football. They just got so many other opportunities to do stuff in the house. When it's 100 degrees outside, they don't go outside. When it's 100 degrees outside, we're cutting grass. You had to do your chores. And I understand the heat ain't what it is today, what it was then, but still, if you want to be a college or a collegiate football, basketball, baseball player, you don't take no time off nowadays. It's a year-round thing. And so they have to put a lot of more work into it, where the old school athlete like a Sanders or a Bo Jackson, who can do two or three sports, they were just phenomenal. They work their trade when football season ends. They work it when basketball. They work it with football. So I like the old school guy because he worked at it. What the new school guy, he don't get that opportunity because everybody is perfecting their skill for the sport that they're in now, and it's hard to work on two of them.
Donnie, our friend Don is saying that they are pampered snowflakes. Now I'm not touching that one, but that's what Dunn is sharing. And Robert Rich is said he is very trite and good perspective, and he's thanking you for your answer. And Don again is saying, he think your career has been amazing. So, and I agree with him as well. Listen, share with us a little bit as we prepare to close, a little bit about your new position there at John Tyler.
Well, let me go back to when you asked me about relationships. This is a relationship.
Yes.
My guy, Greg Priest, is over all the Tyler. We got 3 high schools, John Tyler, Robert E. Lee, and a technology school, and 5 middle schools. And this guy doesn't look like me, but because he doesn't look like me, don't mean we can't love each other the same way. This guy is taking a leaf. He's taking the oath to help kids invest into their future, their education, and he goes beyond that. When I say kids, all kids, ones that look like us and everybody else. And that's what drew me back here, because the relationship with him and watching him thrive and watching him do what he does and watch him sincerely care about our young people, that they not only get an education, but they at least go out, try sports. Because a lot of it, when you leave high school, you don't get that opportunity no more. Some will and some won't.
Mm-hmm.
But just to invest in their future and give them an opportunity. It's one thing to hold a title, but it's another thing to have that title and go out and do the job. And that's what I respect, and that's why I'm here to help him in any way I can.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, listen, Donnie, it's been great. I know you have to get on the road to get back to Austin, and I just want to thank you so much, man, for coming on and sharing with us. And you and I will be in constant contact. But again, I'm agreeing with Rich and Robert and Brother King and all the guys, man. It's a fantastic, fantastic story. This needs to be put on wax. There needs to be a book. So, man, hey, listen, you are a phenomenon, brother. And I'm sure that the people at Entirely ISD is going to be well rewarded with having you there with them.
Well, I appreciate it.
Because, yeah, hey, man, listen. I'm telling you, Brother King wasn't on at the time. Thank you, Don. Brother King wasn't on at the time, but Brother King, just as we shut down, Donnie didn't even start playing football until his junior year. His first season, he comes out, he goes undefeated. Second year, he wins the state championship, and the rest is history. Going to the University of Texas, and he talks strongly about that. And I don't want to tarnish that, Donnie, but Brother King, Donnie and I had a lot of conversations, and Coach Eddie Robinson has passed on, but we were hoping that Donnie would choose Grambling, and Coach Eddie Robinson wanted Donnie really, really badly, but unfortunately, they didn't follow Coach Robs' instructions, and I'm not going to call names because at that time I was scouting for Grambling, but I was working in Texas, and they drug their feet, and so now Donnie is, and that's the way it was meant to be. I'm sorry. But now, even though I hate he didn't go to Grambling, that was what was intended, because he's a trailblazer. He has a fantastic story. So many great things have happened to him and is happening to him in his life. So I just want to take my hat off to Mr. Donnie Little for being the man that he is, to growing up into the man that he is. And I know your twins are happy to have you as a dad. And I know the missus is happy to have you as her spouse. So we're great. And we're very appreciative and happy that you're here. And please say hello to your friend for us. And hopefully, Donnie, we can have you back again, man, and just kicking and talk about some more things as we start to get that Hollywood script together and get that book together.
Absolutely.
Now, if yes, sir, if someone was interested in contacting you, just to I'm going to tell you, Donnie, I wouldn't be surprised if you got a call from Hollywood, brother. But if someone wanted to contact you, would you like to share some contact information?
Well, you have mine, so you're more than welcome to dispose.
Yes, I do. Okay, I'll do it. I can put it in the box over here. We have a box here that we usually put things in, and I will type it in there for them. And I know everything is, and I'm going to type that in right now as we're talking. And I just want you to know that I appreciate everything that that you did and you being here. Now we Tyler ISD dot. Okay, as you guys see in the chat box there, there's Donnie's best way to contact Donnie. There's his contact information. And again, this is the Nobody Asked Me Guys show. Allow me to apologize for Dr. Vibe. Dr. Vibe is in Toronto, Canada, and he got his time. I'm laughing at him because he got his time mixed up, and it's so he's going to be coming at 5 o'clock his time, and we'll already be done. But the next time around, maybe Dr. Vibe will get in. I'm the Nobody Asked Me guy. You can contact me at www. As a matter of fact, I can put it in down here. You can always contact me at www.dyingonmyfeet.com. That's the easy way to contact me, www.dyingonmyfeet.com. Or dying is one T, is showing two T's, but it should be FEET. I'm sorry with my typing. Dying on my feet, FEET.com. That is my website. My email is the alphabet A, the word brighter like the sun, future, 91 at gmail.com. And you can contact me there. So Donnie, just keep in mind, as far as this book project, keep in mind, you know, I'm a writer and a poet. I just finished another book called Mothers and Their Men that'll be debuting Mother's Day this year. And so you might want to hook up with my publisher. So you just never know. But guys, it's been great. We want to thank Rich for being here with us, and Don, and all of our friends here, our brother King, Karma, and Frazier, and David Jaffe, and Rich Roberts, and Donald, and we had one of our friends that went in with us earlier, but she left. Two of them left actually. She's in the Netherlands, Donnie, and it's 4:52 here. So I think it's like 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the Netherlands. So we have an international audience that's listening. We want to thank each and every one of you, and we invite you back next week. Let me share this right quick, Donnie. Next week, Monday, as a matter of fact, we have Cartina Jackson. Now, Cartina Jackson is an actress. She's in her latest movie is called Hell on Earth as in Heaven. That'll be debuting on March 3rd. She's also a horror and fiction writer. So she'll be here with us on Monday. And then after that, we'll have Don Cincone. Don Cincone is an international artist. If you look up Don Cincone, you'll see that Don has worked in places literally all over the world. And after the NFL draft, we're going to have Doug Williams. He may be before the draft, but we're going to have Doug Williams, the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl, who was a Grambling Knight himself. And then we have one of my former bosses, Dr. George McKenna. For those of you that are strong in education, the George McKenna story aired in 1986. Denzel Washington played the part of my boss. He teases me all the time. Nobody played my part because it wasn't about me. It was about him. I just worked for him. So if you've seen Lean on Me and Joe Clark, it was our version of Lean on Me and Joe Clark, but we were in Los Angeles, California. So and if you get the chance, look up Dr. George McKenna, and you can see a trailer. You can actually see the whole movie on the internet. And I had been cut from the Raiders, Donnie. That's how I got to work for Dr. McKenna. I've been cut from the Raiders. I was looking for a job. I ran into Dr. McKenna. I had no idea. Dr. Vibe, come on, Dr. Vibe. Dr. Vibe is saying he's sorry he was delayed, but I would like Donnie to have the opportunity, because Donnie has to get back to Austin, Texas. Yeah. But I would like Donnie to have the opportunity to see you, and at least for you to say hello to him, Dr. Vibe. So Donnie has been great. I know you got to get on the road, but I at least want to give you just a few seconds to say hello to Dr. Vibe and for him to say hello to you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay with you, Donnie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dr. Vibe, come on and join us and
greetings.
At least get to say hello.
Greetings. How you doing, Dr. Vibe?
I am
to him that you had Dunny, I was
favorite.
telling you, Dunny, Dr. Vibe is big time. You know, Dr. Vibe got buddies at ESPN and places like that. You know, I don't have those privileges,
Yeah,
but
well,
Dr. Vibe does. So
I'm
Dr. Vibe,
okay.
I'm
So
quiet. It's all
Melvin, you
yours.
keep quiet. I don't have pictures of Venus Serena when they were growing up either. Okay, good.
That's true.
Donnie,
That's
it is
true.
an honor and pleasure. Sorry for getting in late, but I have a very quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
What is your thoughts about today's African American athlete, especially when it comes to football?
In perspective, as
Compared
for
compared to when you were a college athlete to today, like they have a lot more, I guess. Well, they have a lot more opportunity. Let's put it that way. But what
mhm.
when you were an athlete to see today's college football athlete? What do you smile about and what do you frown about?
I smile about how incredibly talented they are. On that same note, I frowned about how chauvinistic they are. Um, they, there's a difference between the old school athlete working for it, and not that the new school kid doesn't work for it, but I don't think he worked as hard as the old school guy did, and so he feels
Yep.
that he feels, I guess, more. The old school guy was more determined to make it, and especially if
Okay.
you get a kid out the hood, want to make a better life for their parents, their family, they're determined. Right here in this town, Earl Campbell, I went to his and seen the house he built for his mom, and he was determined to get, make a better way for his parents. Where today we got more educated people in our family, better jobs. Some of them are not as hungry, and then some are hungry because they want to play that that next level. So you got two type of different athletes. A kid that I love is Vince Young, but Vince Young,
Yeah.
everybody loves him in Austin, but Vince got to love himself more than that everybody else love him. He got to, you know,
Mm,
football is over, and now it's time to
right.
start carrying yourself in public with the same respect you carried yourself on that field. And we don't want to see our kids like him. We don't want our younger people to see him go from the highest mountain down to the lowest. We want him to gather himself up and dust himself back off and, bring his bad deeds to fruition and get rid of them and handle them and tackle them. And we still going to love him. But we don't want our younger people to say it's cool to do that, you know. So it's a two-part question, Dr. Bob, and it's a good one. It's just more young people feel more entitled, where the older person feel they really had to work hard.
Can I get in one other quick question?
Sure.
Uh,
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
Donnie, if you weren't playing football, what would you be doing?
What I'm doing now, either coaching or administrating.
Okay, so that leads me to a point, and I guess you're reading my mind. Why isn't there more black coaches in the NCAA?
Why it isn't?
Yes. Why aren't there more?
That's a good question. That's a good question, and you and I both know it's because of who hold the seat.
Yeah,
Who
understood.
hold that seat
Mhm.
to get them in. I mean, look at the NFL. How many were let go this year?
Yep,
Then how do you
exactly.
justify a coach at Texas Tech that won 3, 4, 5 games and he become a head coach over a guy that's been
Yeah,
in the league 30 plus years with all that experience? Because they looked at the success of the Los Angeles Rams and saw that here's an offensive minded coach. Oh, well, let's bring this guy in. He's an offensive minded coach. He had Pat Mahomes at Texas Tech and developed him. Maybe he can do the same for this quarterback at Arizona. Right, wrong, indifferent. Well, you bypass people that's been coaching in there that look like me and you over 30 years and have more
yeah.
experience.
One other quick one. I'll ask you, what is the greatest thing sports has done for you?
Relationships. and open doors that I might not can
Wow.
get in.
I like that.
Wow.
That's
Wow. Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's strong.
Like I've been blessed
That's
myself
strong.
to do a lot of coaching, and the thing for me, and I'm sure you can relate to this, is all the lessons that you learned on the field are no different than the ones you have to deal with
That's
in real
true.
life.
That's true. That is true. Dr. Bob, we're gonna have to have another show.
Yeah, we are.
I,
Yeah, we
my
are.
apologies
No,
for
we
the delay today,
understand.
because I have a myriad of things that I'd like to have you share about, and just the things, as I say right now, you've been dropping knowledge bombs just in the few minutes that I've been on with you, and we want more. We want more, because I remember
Yeah, we do.
I remember being very, very young and watching some reels of you in the days of Texas and Frank Broyles.
Yeah, in Arkansas.
And
Mm-hmm.
because I'm more of an NCAA fan than an NFL fan.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome.
And that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, Dr. Vibe, thank you very much. I did promise Donnie. I promised Donnie because he has to drive from Tyler back to Austin,
No problem.
and the weather is kind of cutting up in these southern regions.
Yeah, but
So
it's
I
not
did promise him
snowing,
that
though.
we'd be maybe 40, 45 minutes.
It's not snowing.
Okay.
though.
No, it's not snowing.
Okay, so don't give me none of
So
this
listen.
cutting up weather.
But
It's not
Dr.
snowing,
Bob,
so
they don't
hush
know
your
how to
mouth.
drive when the streets are wet.
I received that, Donnie. I received that. Go ahead. Sorry, Melvin. Had to get some humor in there.
No, man. No. Listen, everybody that don't know, Dr. Vibe got me started in this process. Dr. Vibe is the real guru, and he and I were to be co-hosting today, and unfortunately, he was held up. So when as he's apologizing to me, understand something. I am his student. He is my teacher. So I respect his humility.
We do it together. We work.
So Donnie,
We work together and we win together, just like on the football field.
That's awesome.
yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Yes, sir. So in closing, guys, Robert Rich is thanking Donnie for his comments, and also Don is saying Dr. Vibe. Rich is saying, I know Dr. Vibe can see this, but listen, and we also have Brother King that came in with us today, Dr. Vibe, and we want to thank him as well.
Yes.
We want to thank all of those of you that are listening. And I've already run down our schedule. And Donnie, we will let you go. We appreciate you being here, and we want you to be safe and arrive in Austin safely. And we will have you back. I just want you to let us know when it's going to be more convenient for you, so that we can have you back and maybe talk about some things that we didn't get to talk about
guys.
today.
Good. You betcha. God bless.
Okay, and listen. Maybe you can talk Earl in the coming on with you, man.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Take care,
Thank you.
guys.
Take care. Be safe.
Travel good, Donnie.